All right, so we're back and ready for another deep dive. Today, we're looking ahead to a year that's closer than you might think, 2028.
Yeah, it might feel like it's far away, but it's really not. We're getting a surprising number of signals about what 2028 might have in store for us.
It's wild. We've got sources pointing to major elections all over the globe, huge sporting events, and even the possibility of seeing, get this, woolly mammoths roaming the earth again.
Yeah, you heard that right, woolly mammoths. It's incredible the things that are being worked on behind the scenes, things that we'll be seeing the results of just a few years from now.
Seriously. So, are you ready to jump into the deep end and see what this 2028 crystal ball has to show us?
Let's do it. I always love a good peek into the future.
Okay, first up, we got to talk about elections. 2028 is a big election year.
Oh, yeah, big time. We've got Turkey, the Philippines, Moldova, all holding presidential elections. But the one that, of course, most folks will be glued to is the U.S. presidential election.
Right, the big one. I mean, considering how unpredictable things have been in U.S. politics lately, who knows what the landscape will even look like by 2028?
Exactly. But one thing's for sure, what happens in the U.S. doesn't stay in the U.S. The impact of whoever sits in the Oval Office is going to be felt worldwide, especially given some of these long-term issues that are only going to get more pressing by 2028.
Things like, well, I mean, climate change is the obvious one, right?
Absolutely. And by 2028, we're going to be looking at some serious consequences from climate change that are going to need, well, they're going to need global cooperation to address.
No doubt. And that's not even touching on the economic, social, you name it, challenges that'll be tied into those environmental changes.
It's a lot. And the decisions that are being made right now, today, those are going to determine what kind of world we're living in 2028.
Okay, so big elections, lots of potential global impact. But hey, let's not forget, 2028 is also a big year for sports.
Right. The Olympics and Paralympics are headed back to Los Angeles.
It's going to be the third time LA has hosted the games. That's a pretty rare feat.
Yeah, not many cities get that chance. And it's definitely exciting. It's a huge undertaking, but I mean, LA's got experience, so they'll be up for the challenge.
It's true. Plus, the city is already aiming to be carbon neutral by 2045, so maybe we'll see some pretty innovative sustainability efforts at these games.
That would be great. I mean, think about the impact these games have on the host city, not just in terms of infrastructure, but also culturally and socially. It's an opportunity for LA to really put its best foot forward on the world stage.
All right, so we've covered elections, we've talked about sports, but now let's get to something truly mind-blowing. This idea that woolly mammoths might be back in the picture by 2028. I mean, how is that even possible?
Well, it all comes down to some truly cutting edge science.
Okay, walk me through this.
So there's this company, Colossal Biosciences, and they're working on something called de-extinction, basically bringing extinct species back to life.
Hold on, this is Jurassic Park stuff.
Kinda, yeah, but in real life. And instead of dinosaurs, we're talking woolly mammoths. They're using this gene editing technology called CRISPR, which is like a super precise tool that lets scientists modify DNA.
So they're like rewriting the genetic code of these mammoths to bring them back.
Exactly. It's wild, right? And the thing is, their goal isn't just to, have mammoths in a zoo or something. They want to reintroduce them into the Arctic.
Wait, what? Reintroduce them, like, into the wild.
Yep. They believe that bringing mammoths back could actually help restore the tundra ecosystem.
Okay, I'm officially lost.
I know it sounds crazy, but the thinking is that mammoths, with their grazing and their movement patterns, they used to play a big role in maintaining that ecosystem.
So bringing them back could sort of rebalance things.
That's the hope. Of course, it's a massive experiment, and there are definitely risks involved.
But yeah, I mean, unintended consequences and all that. But still, wow, this is some serious science fiction turned reality.
No kidding. And the implications are huge. If they can do this with mammoths, what other species could they bring back? It really makes you think.
Right, let's shift gears for a minute. Another event that caught my eye was the lease expiration of the Muldohafen port in Hamburg. Now, this port is leased to the Czech Republic, has been since 1929. It's been a really important access point for them to the sea, for global trade and all that. But at least runs out in 2028.
Yeah, and that's interesting timing, right? Given all the geopolitical tensions going on in Europe right now. With the war in Ukraine, the future of that port is going to be, well, it's going to be a big point of discussion.
For sure. I mean, will the lease be renewed? Will Germany want to keep that agreement? What about the Czech Republic's position within the EU? It all seems, well, kind of precarious.
Absolutely. It's a reminder of how quickly things can change on the global stage. and how agreements made decades ago can suddenly become points of contention.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah,
But let's move on to something, well, maybe a bit less tense.
sure. What else is on the docket?
Well, 2028 is also the year that the 54th International Eucharistic Congress will be held in Sydney, a huge event for the Catholic world.
Absolutely. And Australia's Catholic population is growing, so it's going to be a significant event for the country as well. It'll be interesting to see what role the church takes on the world stage at that point, especially regarding some of these social justice issues that are gaining momentum globally.
Okay, and of course, we can't forget about sports. In 2028, we've got the ICC Men's T20 World Cup happening in Australia and New Zealand.
That's always a big one. Cricket fans around the world will be following that closely.
And we'll also have the UEFA Euro 2028 Football Championship. That one's going to be hosted across the UK and Ireland. Talk about a major sporting event.
It's pretty incredible how these global sporting events have this power to bring people together. It transcends language, culture, you name it. It's a shared passion that cuts through so much division.
All right, and before we wrap up, let's talk about one more mind-blowing development slated for 2028, the launch of the Aerial Space Telescope.
Oh yeah, Ariel. That's going to be huge for our understanding of the universe.
It's specifically designed to study exoplanet atmospheres, which is pretty much like trying to find clues about other planets that might have life on them.
Right. It's going to be looking at hundreds of different exoplanets, analyzing their atmospheres for signs of, well, signs of anything that might indicate life.
So 2028 could be the year we find evidence that we're not alone in the universe.
It's definitely a possibility. And even if we don't find definitive proof of life, the data that Ariel collects is going to revolutionize our understanding of planets beyond our solar system.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap here. In 2028, we're looking at major political shifts with elections happening all over the globe.
We've got the potential return of the woolly mammoth, which is like something out of science fiction.
The Olympics and Paralympics are heading back to Los Angeles, promising a summer of sporting spectacle.
And we'll be launching a telescope that could rewrite our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
All this happening in just a few short years. Makes you wonder what other surprises might be lurking around the corner as we head toward 2028.
That's the thing, isn't it? We can make predictions, analyze trends, but ultimately the future holds possibilities we can't even imagine yet.
Well, on that note, I guess all we can do is buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Who knows what incredible discoveries and challenges await us.
Absolutely. That's the fun part, the not knowing.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the year 2028. And to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the fascinating world around us.
See you then.
Take care.